Hi, it's Steve at Stern City Hypnosis. This is a little video to help prepare you so that you have the best possible chance of having a smooth experience with getting hypnotized. The thing is, the majority of people who are seeking help from a hypnotist, it's really not an issue. It's like the simplest part of the entire work, the hypnotic induction or the phases where we get people into hypnosis is really pretty simple. That's the easy part of the work. But we do want to make sure we minimize as much as possible the chances of any sort of hiccups. A lot of times this can be done by setting expectations correctly and addressing the concerns ahead of time. So on the next screen, on the next page, there's going to be a very simple diagnostic, which is basically a question. When you see the question, this is meant to activate your imagination, and in your own mind you can come with the answer. You just answer in your own mind with the most automatic instantaneous response. No need to think about it too hard. Pretty simple. Okay, the next page, here we go. The question is, imagine you're holding a lightsaber. What color is it? And you see the options there: blue, green, red, any color. The specific color doesn't matter. The specific is irrelevant. um, Other option being, what's a lightsaber? C, that didn't work. I don't see a lightsaber in my hand. D, blue. Did I get it right? E, I don't know. Okay, so whatever you answered there. Uh, so this is a way to kind of do this little diagnostic thing. The first option here, as long as it's certain any color, blue, green, red, doesn't matter. It's a pretty good sign because it just indicates that a person has at least a bare minimum requirements of being coachable. They can follow simple instructions. They can actively participate. Their imagination is decent enough that they can just imagine something and make something up if they have to. So that's that doesn't mean they're going to be the greatest hypnotic subject of all time. Most people don't have to be. It's totally unnecessary, but just means they have the bare minimum requirements. So that's good. The second option here, what's a lightsaber? This is more about the responsibility of the hypnotist. The hypnotist is responsible for making sure they can communicate in a way that makes using common, understood concepts, things that make sense to people. And that's really the responsibility of the hypnotist to use concepts that are familiar with the person getting hypnotized. C, this third option here, that didn't work. I don't see a lightsaber in my hand. This could potentially be a big problem. Red flag, as I mentioned here. Because if you think about that question, imagine a lightsaber and what color is it? And if someone responds in a way that goes, oh, that didn't work. Well, what it means is that the person has this expectation that somehow hearing that instruction or that request is supposed to magically cause the appearance of that imaginary object in front of them or in their eyes or something like that. So this is, especially in the early stages of the process where we kind of ease people into hypnosis, we do like warm-up exercises, kind of lead them into that state. Um, if people, especially early on, if they think that, okay, I'm just going to hear these things and I'm supposed to go under and I'm just going to sit here and hear these magical suggestions that are going to change my life, that's a really passive, ineffective attitude towards the whole process. And unfortunately, I think it's sometimes because, people have seen on Hollywood movies, TV shows, stage things sometimes where it looks like the person just sitting there like a lump and just kind of like hearing certain things and making them do things and stuff. So that's kind of really not very effective attitude to anything really. So this option here, blue, did I get it right? This is going to be a cautionary response, a yellow flag actually, because with this kind of question, like what color is your lightsaber, obviously there's no right or wrong answer to that. And when someone responds with adding this kind of questioning thing, like approval seeking thing, like did I get it right? Did I do it wrong? A lot of times that's the tendency of maybe someone has an issue with worrying, nervousness, perfectionism, overthinking, and I help people with those sort of issues all the time. It's no problem. But when it comes to the hypnotic process, the actual act of getting hypnotized, we want to minimize that as much as possible, and we definitely want people to understand that there's no need to try to please the hypnotist. The hypnotist isn't or shouldn't be looking for the right or wrong answer. Right? They shouldn't be doing that. Um, uh, so in terms of actually getting hypnotized, we just want to reduce as much as possible any of this concept of trying to get it right or doing it right or worrying about doing it wrong or anything like that. So this final option here, F, I don't know. Um, that's also potentially a big concern, red flag, because for a lot of things, it's really good. It's very mature and healthy to be able to say, "Oh, I don't know." If you don't know something, I mean, that's great. That's fantastic. And to just be able to say, "I don't know." But if you think about this, the context of this, what color is your lightsaber? And someone says, "I don't know." That's a pretty, anyone can guess that kind of gives you a sense that the person just doesn't have the energy or the ability to even to make something up, to actively use their imagination. And if they can't actively use their imagination, then the ability to problem solve, the ability to come up with solutions, even working with a hypnotist, prompting them, guiding them, coaching them, that kind of thing. Sometimes that's the attitude of a person who's just sitting there and thinks they're going to go under, and someone's going to say things to them and fix their life for them or solve their life issues or something like that, giving them the answer to their life problems or something like that. That is a really, really, really ineffective attitude to anything, really, especially in this work. So that's if that type of thing is going on, that needs to really be addressed straight off, first thing first. The good news is, as I mentioned, most people who are open to hypnosis, even seeking hypnotic help, they're open to experience, kind of more flexible, and they have pretty good imaginations, just being able to imagine that, even think about hypnosis as an option. So, but pretty rare to run into really real difficulties of as outlined in some possible scenarios. But everyone can get better. Even people who are already pretty good at hypnosis, or everyone can get better. There's actually been research that's been done, which shows that if people adopt certain mental strategies and attitudes of super highly hypnotizable people, they they can actually get better at being hypnotized. And of course, that could definitely apply to people who maybe were on the other end of the scale, like where some of those options that were not so optimal, maybe. As long as people have, adjust their mindset, uh, the mindset about hypnosis itself and expectations. A couple of big principles being, you know, one principle here, voluntary compliance with instructions, which is basically coachability, leads to non-voluntary automatic hypnotic effects, which is really what people generally want to get to when they seek hypnosis, because the purpose of getting hypnotized or going to see a hypnotist is you want something to happen in life more or less automatically. It's different than it used to be because you've probably tried willpower, motivation, all that sort of thing, like reading books and that kind of stuff. So really the end result should be getting to the point of like automatically, for example, automatically not thinking about your next cigarette, or automatically uh, feeling calmer about making a speech or something, or automatically not noticing the cookies and donuts in the office kitchen. That's like the end result. But in order to get there, first there has to be like coachability to voluntary compliance to enable getting to the non-voluntary effects. Second principle is active participation by your imagination is required. Nothing happens unless your mind makes it happen, and that relates again to that one option, one response of what color is your lightsaber? I don't know, or oh, nothing's happened. I don't see a lightsaber. Uh, so if that kind of understanding of hypnosis, misunderstanding of hypnosis is in place, that really needs to be corrected first off, so that we can get anywhere really. So. Um, uh, I have another presentation which includes some strategies, tips of getting better at being a hypnotic subject, as mentioned. And I'll add a link to that. It's like a little slideshow. I'll add a link to that to the description of this video, so you can take a look at that. That's totally optional. It's completely optional. But I hope this information helps and helps prepare you to have a smooth experience. Okay, once again, Steve, thanks. Bye.